Hi, I'm Steve Geppi, and I'd like to welcome you to Geppi'S Entertainment Museum. In 1974, I quit my job as a letter carrier at the U.S. Postal Service and opened a small comic book store in the basement of a TV repair shop. Little did I realize that from that humble beginning would grow this incredible pop culture collection you see here today. At the center of that collection is the comic character, the Brownies, Buster Brown, Mickey Mouse, the Lone Ranger, Superman, Barbie. These are just some of the characters who've made a tremendous impact on our individual childhoods while at the same time shaping our collective experience. As you wander through these halls, you will see the history of the country and our changing society reflected in those characters and the media through which they entertained us. Why are these characters so important to us? Perhaps it is their power to distract us. They've brought us relief in times of trouble, like the Great Depression and World War II. Today, they help us escape the pressure and stress of our ordinary, everyday lives.
Welcome back. We're at Geppi'S Entertainment Museum. I'm here with Andy. We have a whole new segment this time, somebody that I think everybody's familiar with, especially if you like vegetables.
That's right. If you like vegetables, we've got the ultimate Superman, Popeye. Popeye, of course, getting his powers, according to the cartoons, from the consumption of spinach. Actually, not what he did in the comic strip.
And not Swiss chard, nothing works but spinach.
Well, in the cartoons, nothing works but spinach, but it's a great build-up for what we like to call a paradigm of brilliance, which is a story that, even though it's the same, no matter how many times you tell it, it's still great. And that's the Popeye story, which is boy meets girl, girl likes somebody else, girl and other boy have problems, can of spinach resolves all difficulty.
Andy, fascinating information about Popeye. As we continue, just one thing for our viewers to keep in mind, the Geppi'S Entertainment Museum, it's open to the public. We've got folks wandering around right now enjoying the exhibits and the store, but let's get back to Popeye. I still remember one time he couldn't get the can of spinach open, so he turned his pipe into a blowtorch.
Popeye is very interesting in that in the cartoon strip very much so, he uses his pipe as a tool. He sometimes used it as propeller. Often he would use it to do all sorts of activities, blowtorch, he would use it as a hammer, he would use use it to spin around. Just Popeye was very good with his pipe. Although today I think he's not even allowed to use it unless it blows bubbles out of it because of the anti-smoking lobbyists.
And see now, I don't think I can do it justice, and if you can, our viewers probably, but he had that very distinctive laugh, and before either one of us make fools out of ourselves and try that, you suppose that's where Curly of Curly, Morrow and Joe got his sort of a
No, I would not, because the Four Stooges, as they were known when Popeye first became popular, it was Moe, Larry, Curly, and Shemp.
Right.
The best of the lot, by the way. Were all the Four Stooges. They were even introduced as the Four Stooges in their earliest film appearances. Curly has already established his on stage. So if anything, the man who voiced Popeye might have looked to Curly to get that voice. Except the guy who plays Popeye plays him as a very savvy individual who mutters a lot of comical asides under his breath that shows there's a lot more working up here than Curly ever pretended to have.
I think that's probably true. I remember some very interesting observations he just wasn't your average sailor.
No, he's kind of like Donald Duck, where if you pay attention, you'll probably be laughing and offended. But if you're not, you're just like, I'm going to open my door with my D-ball. Great guy, always saying things under his breath that would cause him to get slapped in the face or pushed into a wall or something. But
now, I want to focus on Olive Oyl. It seems to me that in every single episode, she's given Popeye a hard time. Why does he keep her around?
Well, I think this lovely vixen here was Popeye's. Was Popeye's basically? Well, let me put it this way: Popeye is the ultimate Ayn Rand hero. He is not going to take no for a compromise, take no for an answer, and he will accept no compromise. She is the Ayn Rand heroine in that she doesn't realize that she's madly in love with Popeye because she's just been distracted by some frivolous person, say, for the sake of this argument, Wimpy, who's able to get her a burger every day at little to no cost. Popeye then does what any non-compromising male has to do. Beats Wimpy, wins her heart, and they go off into the sunset together. Hopefully not into water, because I think these things would disintegrate if we put them in water.
So Andy, these are actual artifacts, and can you tell me roughly how old they are?
These were all carnival statues. They were made in the 30s and 40s. You would win these at like a ring toss or ball throw or shoot the loop. And the way they would work is they were basically the equivalent of mass-produced folk art, meaning these people didn't have a licensing agreement with King Features to get Popeye. They would just go out and make them because who's going to really want to step down a tattooed carny in 1930s and tell him he can't sell those Popeyes? He's looking for a beating himself if he does that. They'd find him the next day in a ditch, breathing very badly. But these would be, like I said, one there, and then they've also become very popular collector's items. As a result, they are in a lot of ways the only Popeye toys people could get. Popeye, of course, did have toys that were designed after him, but these were generally some of the most easily accessible. Since you would get them thanks to a generous throw from an uncle or a father or even a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Fascinating. So who knows how many of those are still out in someone's home. And let's circle around for a moment back to Geppi'S. When folks come here, are there Popeye cartoons and that they can see on the wall, for example, strips?
Well, we do have Popeye strips on the wall that they can see, and we do have examples of toys from Popeye. We sometimes will show cartoons in our gift store, but we don't show them in our lobby because Popeye is copyright by King's Features. And while we sell the fantastic Popeye the Sailor 1933 to 1938 Fleischer series, this is the era when Popeye was bigger than Mickey Mouse as an animated hero. Actually, probably the biggest animated star of this period. 1933. Very interesting because this is when Betty Boop had to be toned down because the Hays Code was put into strict enforcement. But Popeye, with his beating people up was a little bit not as hurt by the new strict regulations. And
So violence was acceptable, but sex was not.
as always.
As always. Aren't those the largest forearms you've ever seen on anyone? I guess that was probably from, like, what, hauling up the anchor?
Well, what's interesting is, he probably from hauling up the anchor, Popeye, maybe it's the all spinach diet. If you eat vitamin A, you build up these great, what are these, forearms? Or we are not people that are working.
Forearms. We're going to leave it at forearms, I
that's
think. And it's interesting, as always, about Popeye. Just a little bit of information about Geppi'S before we go to break.
Okay, well, Geppi'S Entertainment Museum is located in Camden Yards, at Camden Station, one floor above Sports Legends. You can get to us by the Convention Center light rail stop or the Camden Yards light rail stop. We are open Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 6. And we also have this wonderful Geppi'S Comic World gift shop. A lot of people out there probably grew up shopping at Geppi'S Comic World. Well, it's back, and here it is. This is just one small corner of it. And we have tons of toys and collectibles from the 1700s to the present day, with an entire room focusing on one of the greatest American art forms, the comic book. We have over 750 comics on display alone, including Action Comics number 1 and Detective Comics number 27, the debuts of Superman and Batman, respectively. We even have an amazing fantasy number 15 where Spider-Man debuted.
That is fascinating. Now, if you would hold Popeye up for just a moment directly into the camera.
I'm so drunk.
So you've heard about Geppi'S Art Museum, and you should come down here. They have something for everybody, and if you don't, we're going to send Popeye to your home to bring you down. So come on down to Geppi'S.
Yes, you better come to the museum before I do some slugging. Isn't that right, Popeye? You're the one talking.
And I think we're going to take a break.
You spoiled our 4th of July. Listen, kids, fireworks is too dangerous. I'm gonna see that you has a safe and sane 4th of July. Who wants to be safe? Yeah, and who wants to be sane? Just a minute, kids, and we'll all play some nice games. Baseball. That's a good game. Let's go. Okay, boys. Here comes me famous Dipsky Doodle's rock pitch. Strike one. Come on, let's get our fireworks and have some real fun. These hot dogs will be barking in a minute. Hornets! We're gonna have a nice drive in the country. That's swell, Uncle Popeye. And away we go, boys. I hope you kids is enjoying the countryside. It's beautiful. Why, them rascals, they double-crossed me. Look out! Shooting up fireworks.
Welcome back. We're here with Zach. Zach, this is your part of the Geppi'S Entertainment Museum Empire. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. What are you doing?
I'm the the sales manager here at Geppi'S Comic World. We've started to go ahead and kind of go back to the founders' roots. Before it was flashbacks and it was more like your classic museum gift shop. We've decided to go ahead and change the name back to Geppi'S Comic World and go back to what Steve did before everything when he was the comic store owner.
So what kind of changes are you making in the store to reflect this then?
Bringing more books back in.
Okay.
Comic books has been something that when I came in here there was not a lot of, and with having the comic book collection we have with Action #1, Detective #27, Tales of Suspense 39, First Appearance of Iron Man, these seminal books in the comic history, we didn't have a lot to reflect our love and Steve's love of comics. So the first thing we've done is we've started getting more trades, which are collections of stories, and we've got those in the store so that you can come in and pick up anything from any point in time and start getting good stories. Starting in September, we're going to be carrying a limited number of actual issues, which are the weekly comic issues from Detective Comics, Action Comics, Batman, as well as some of the other series that are going on as well, such as Spider-Man.
Now, these are reproductions of older comics?
No,
or these are current stories?
Current stories, brand new issues. We are going to be on par with anything you'll find on your newsstands or your local comic store. Just a smaller selection, because we still want you to go to your local store to look for the stuff that's a little more out there, and also the independent stuff as well. You can go ahead and buy new comic books here. Starting in September, we're going to start carrying weekly issues.
So these are current stories
Yes.
that are just being written and given to the public for the first time?
Yes, these are current creators on current books with current numbering, and current artists. This is not reprints. We are going with new books every Wednesday.
Are there any titles that you can share with us? Or?
A couple we're going to be carrying, obviously Batman and Detective Comics, as well as Action Comics. We're going to be carrying Spider-Man, as well as a few surprises.
Zach, you've got a lot of great characters here in the museum, but the three that come to mind, the first is Popeye and Olive Oil and all the gang.
There is a Popeye comic that is started. It just started about 3 months ago. We will be carrying it in the future as demand sees it. Right now, I'm waiting for the actual story, the arc of the comic, to go ahead and start new instead of picking it up in the middle. But that is something we will be carrying in the future, and it just started literally about 3 months ago.
Well, that's great, because a lot of people my age remember Olive Oil and Popeye and Bluto and all the challenges and conflicts they always got into each week. So that's great. Zach, I want to thank you for this segment here. Your shop looks just great. There's a lot of interesting things here. Geppi'S Entertainment Museum itself has a lot of great things, but this store is really looking pretty good.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is a passion for me. The one thing I've always wanted to do, and I've mentioned it before on the shows, I wanted to be in comics. I wanted to be in a store, and I've wanted to get that experience. And I've been blessed with the opportunity to go ahead and use this store as a way to go ahead and share with everyone what I've been able to enjoy and what I've been able to get in the different stores I've been at. So if you want, come down, see our experience. We're back. Everything is going the way it's supposed to, and I guarantee you'll have an awesome time.
Talk about lucky being able to indulge in one's passion. We're going to need to take a break. We have a lot more coming up, so please stay with us. A unique gift, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthday for a relative, Christmas, Hanukkah, who knows what. Some really unique things down here. Plus, the museum itself is just great.
It is, and we are trying to get more and more unique things in the museum. I can definitely say if you want to see something awesome, stop by around November, December, when we have Christmas going on. We'll have some very, very nice things for display as well as for sale to anyone willing to go ahead looking for that.
Now, I know you're making a lot of changes. Are you doing layaways yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm working on it.
How about credit cards though?
Oh, we take every type of credit card known to man.
Lots of credit cards, all right. So a unique gift, something out of the ordinary, right here at Geppi'S, and Zach has it for you.
There's more to it than that. These characters have played a large and largely unrecognized role in our education. Batman comic books helped me to learn to read when I was 5 years old. Thanks, big guy. That experience fostered a lifelong love of reading. I had dreamed of creating this museum for almost 30 years, but where to build it? When I toured Camden Station for the first time in 2003, I realized I had finally found the home these characters so richly deserved. Abraham Lincoln passed through this building 4 times. When Babe Ruth left his boyhood home of Baltimore to play for the Boston Red Sox, he took a train from this very station. Today, the first floor houses Sports Legends at Camden Yards, a museum which chronicles the history of Maryland sports. If there is a more appropriate place to display the history of pop culture in America, I can't think of it. I've been called Baltimore's biggest cheerleader. Guilty as charged. Heck, I even bought the City magazine. I was born and raised in Little Italy, an ethnic neighborhood just across the Inner Harbor from here. I love this city and all of its spectacular attractions. From the National Aquarium and the Science Center, to the Walters Art Gallery and Museum of African American History and Culture, to the restaurants of Fells Point and Little Italy, Baltimore has something for everyone. I urge you to visit all of those places and experience everything this magnificent city has to offer. But first, I'd like you to take a trip with me in my time machine to discover or revisit all the wonderful characters, friends I call them, that have shaped our popular culture. And don't be afraid to say, hey, I had that when I was a kid. I do it all the time.